over the past couple weeks, SmackDown Live has been able to construct some decent, consistent shows that kept in mind the same essence and WWE formula that we usually see, but actually utilize that to its advantage. Here tonight, we saw the downfall of that WWE formula, and we saw the downfall of this consistency that SmackDown has had going into Money in the Bank, because this managed to be exactly that. It felt formulaic, it felt mediocre, and it felt just unimportant and boring for the entirety of tonight's show. And by the end of the first hour, you already knew what type of show this was going to be. Actually, by the end of the first 2 minutes, where they announced all the matches coming in here tonight, you already knew that this show wasn't going to be very exciting when they're announcing a 6-man tag as your main event and a mixed tag team matchup. You're not very excited to see what's going on here tonight on SmackDown Live, and that is exactly the type of show we got. Besides a few quite masterful moments on this show, which was clearly that Shinsuke Nakamura, AJ Styles backstage contract signing, and realistically a pretty decent matchup between Charlotte and Becky Lynch here tonight. But when are they not going to put on a pretty decent matchup? Besides that, there was nothing really interesting that could cater to anybody's interest here tonight on SmackDown Live, and it's a damn shame because they've been putting on some consistent shows, and for that reason I'm not going to go as hard on them as otherwise I usually would. But of course, I'm going to sit here and I'm going to give you my honest opinion. I'm going to complain about what needs to be complained about, and I'm going to talk about how everything on tonight's show had to do with Money in the Bank and how this either enhances or takes away from what WWE is trying to do going into the Money in the Bank pay-per-view. And quite frankly, the feeling coming out of tonight's show was that it did neither of those things. It nor enhanced or took away from what we're seeing going into Money in the Bank. Because if you look at this show up and down, and you can come in to the start of this show and you can come out of the end of this show, and literally the exact same feeling will be had. No progression was made here tonight. I feel like that's the way that you can describe this. You have the same outlook coming into the show that you had coming out, because no progression was made here tonight. And that's realistically the feeling that I got, because quite frankly, here tonight on SmackDown Live, nothing happened. It continued to be this same formulaic garbage that WWE has established on both Raw and SmackDown, where you, for some reason, even though it makes no storyline sense, have to put the members of the Money in the Bank matches together in matches, because apparently you're supposed to be drilling the fact that it's every man or woman for themselves, and it just comes across as absolutely just formulaic, mediocre, unoriginal. And when you have a creative team, they're doing the absolute opposite of what they're doing, which is be creative. They're not being creative. They're just literally copying and pasting whatever they did last week. We've seen the 6-man tag before between the New Day and The Miz and whoever they choose to put behind him. We've seen the versions of the mixed tags between Naomi, Lana, the Usos. We've seen that crap, and it just came across as everything here tonight was irrelevant. You did not need to see it. That was the show here tonight. You did not need to watch the SmackDown Live. If you watched it, you felt nothing. It was boring, and it was, quite frankly, a waste of 2 hours here tonight on SmackDown Live. But of course, that is not going to stop me right here on the Ringside Wrestling YouTube channel from giving you guys a review. Of course, this is Joel Perez of the Ringside Wrestling Entertainment, and here today we're of course going to be talking everything about the June 5th edition of SmackDown Live 2018. And you know, one of the worst things about this show, there's no doubt about it, we were in Corpus Christi, Texas here tonight, and the name is very, very fitting because yes, there were a lot of corpse in the audiences here tonight. Holy shit, this crowd was awful. Every single time we come to Corpus Christi, Texas. We get an absolutely abysmal crowd, and WWE seems to come to this city a lot for shows. I mean, you mean to tell me you can't put on a Raw or a SmackDown in Madison Square Garden, and that you only put in shows at the Barclays Center once a year when you go to SummerSlam, or twice a year when you go to SummerSlam, and then once in like December or some shit, but you come to Corpus Christi, Texas like 3 or 4 times a year? You've got to be kidding me with that. How many times are they going to go to Corpus Christi, Texas? This crowd is the worst crowd out of all WWE crowds ever, bro. Like, this is the worst city. If there's a pinnacle for the worst city when it comes to a crowd, this is it. Holy shit, Corpus Christi. There might be some nice people there, but as far as a WWE crowd goes, you guys suck. Either way, that is besides the point. Of course, before we go into the SmackDown Live review here tonight, I just want to tell everybody to make sure to go check out all the other content on the Ringside Wrestling YouTube channel. Of course, there is so much other content for you guys to go check out. I can guarantee you guys that tomorrow, the second part of the video that we uploaded over the weekend will be up. I didn't want to put it up today or yesterday because, of course, these days are reserved for SmackDown Live and Monday Night Raw reviews, Monday and Tuesday, that is. So I want to put this on the day where, as an alarm goes off there a little bit, but I want to put these reviews on, or these extra content type of episodes on days that there necessarily isn't a lot of content on the Ringside Wrestling YouTube channel. So I refrained from putting that video up today. That is the How I Would Book Monday Night Raw going into SummerSlam video. If you do not know what you're talking about, the first part of that is up, and it is How I Would Book SmackDown Live going into SummerSlam. Make sure to go check that out. That was a very, very interesting video, and I loved working on it. Some great creative ideas in that video. Go check it out. Tell me if you agree in the comment section below. I'd love to hear your feedback on that video, as well as going to check out SmackDown Live and Monday Night Raw reviews for last week. No Behind the Mic this week. Of course, that content that I was just speaking of replaced Behind the Mic because there wasn't a lot of news this week. So I decided that I'd rather do a video talking about something that piques my mind, talking about WWE going into the summer months, rather than wasting it Behind the Mic talking about literally nothing, because there was not a lot of news to talk about to begin with. When I do Behind the Mic, I want a main headline story, something that I'm going to be interested myself in talking about, and that really wasn't the case this past weekend. But I can guarantee that How I Would Book Monday Night Raw, it was finished, has been finished since like Sunday night, and I will be uploading that on, of course, what is it, tomorrow, whenever it may be, probably in the evening. You guys can expect that in your subscription boxes. Speaking of subscription boxes, if you have not subscribed yet to the Ringside Wrestling YouTube channel, I do not know what you are waiting for. Make sure to smash that subscribe button. Each and every single week, you are going to be getting everything regarding the WWE, Raw reviews, SmackDown reviews, Behind the Mic, where we talk about all the news in the wrestling world, pay-per-view reviews, Money in the Bank coming up very soon. We will be covering that, preview and predictions for all the pay-per-views, special content like what you were seeing this past weekend and like what you will be seeing tomorrow night. So all of that good stuff, you can find it right here on the Ringside Wrestling YouTube channel. There's no better time to subscribe than now. Make sure to hit that subscribe button, as well as to click on that notification bell to get those notifications straight to your mobile device. Of course, hit that like button if you enjoy what you're hearing here. Dislike if you do not. Comment, of course. I love to hear the feedback from all of you. Tell me what you're thinking going into Money in the Bank. What did you think of SmackDown Live here tonight? Was it an entertaining show to all of you watching at home? Did you feel that it was slacking here tonight? Do you feel like SmackDown Live was a terrible show here tonight? What do you think about Money in the Bank? Who do you think is going to win the men's Money in the Bank? Women's Money in the Bank? Tell me it all. Who do you think they're going to cash in on? What do you think is going to happen at SummerSlam? Leave it all in the comment section below. It's a rave down there in the comment section below. Of course, make sure to do all of that good stuff, because for now, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to be going straight into your SmackDown Live review. And of course, that consists of the start of the show. And tonight's show, unfortunately, started off with your SmackDown Women's Champion, who is clearly right now a terrible sight to look at. That is Carmella. Actually, she's not a terrible sight to look at, but she's a terrible sight to hear, and it's a terrible sight to see her with the SmackDown Women's Championship, because Carmella was in the ring tonight cutting a promo on Asuka, and for some reason this is how WWE wanted to start off their show instead of the fantastic segment that they had arranged between Shinsuke Nakamura and AJ Styles, which was a absolutely fantastic contract signing. Short but to the point and absolutely clever as all hell. It showed actual creativity and the way that WWE displayed that, but instead they decided to start with this, which just led to an irrelevant matchup on this show to begin with. I don't understand it, but here's the segment. Carmella, quote-unquote, unmasks Asuka here tonight to start off SmackDown Live.
But the truth is, Asuka's devastating loss at WrestleMania shattered her, and she hasn't been the same ever since. And that's why I have no fear. Because Mella is money.
That is absolutely garbage. I hate that.
And the age of Asuka is over. Asuka was undefeated, but now she's just defeated. It used to be no one is ready for Asuka, but now, I mean, like, everybody's ready for Asuka. You're ready for Asuka? You start right there with the drool. I get it. I'm even hotter in person than I am on TV, so I don't blame you. But you with the drool, you're ready for Asuka. Let's play a game. Let's play a game. Raise your hand if you're ready for Asuka, because I'm ready for Asuka. We're all ready for Asuka. Everybody is ready for.
And out comes Asuka. Oh my God! What a surprise! Are they actually going to play this damn entrance? Holy shit. I don't need that copyright from the music. Alright. Okay, so we got past the entrance here. Carmella started talking trash, and out came Mandy Rose and Sonya Deville.
Carmella, I mean, you could have just asked me. Asuka is a shadow of her former self. And yeah, okay, she did beat me last week. And she is dangerous. But I was a second away from beating Asuka.
Sure you were.
And now that I know the truth, I know I can beat Asuka tonight.
Hold on a second, Mandy. You did exactly what you were supposed to do. You left just enough of Asuka for me. So tonight, it's my turn.
Tonight is your turn. You're right, Sonya. But, I mean, Mandy does raise a good point, so what's going to be, Empress? I mean, Mandy, Sonya, you know, the undefeated Asuka would take them both. But you're just the defeated Asuka now. So you should just take your little robe and your mask, call yourself an Uber, and get the hell out of here.
So cringe.
Actually have unfinished business.
So out comes Paige.
So, who do you want? I'm going to give you a choice. Mandy Rose or Sonya Deville? Give me both!
So that leads to a 1-on-2 handicap match. And as you can already assume, that matchup is nothing even close to special. Carmella was on commentary for this matchup. Asuka versus Mandy Rose and Sonya Deville. Now, was Asuka defeated here? No. She got Sonya Deville in a Asuka lock, and it was tap, tap, tap from there on out. Who cares? Not me, not you. As far as the segment goes, it was such a basic start to SmackDown Live. Superstar A comes out, cuts a promo, leads to Superstar B coming out, and Superstar C comes out, or Superstar C and D come out, and bada boom shakalaka, you have your circumstance right there. What I don't understand is why the hell was it Mandy Rose and Sonya Deville who made their way out here tonight to confront Asuka? What the hell ever happened to the Iconics? Where are they? Where are the Iconics here tonight on SmackDown Live, or in general on SmackDown Live? That's what I'm wondering. What the hell? I'd rather see the Iconics, Billie Kay and Peyton Royce, much rather than I see Sonya Deville and Mandy Rose. At least the Iconics can actually wrestle. But, of course, we get treated to the garbage here tonight on SmackDown Live, which was a lackadaisical show. Either way, whether it was the Iconics and whatchamacallit, I can't even remember their names, they're so irrelevant, Sonya Deville and Mandy Rose, either way, it was going to lead to a boring, uneventful handicap match, and that's exactly what it led to. Carmella is cringe as your women's champion. Mella is not money. Mella is cringe. That's what I'm saying right there. Mella is trash. Mella is garbage. Mella is awful. Any of those things apply, bro. Any of those things. Either way, the New Day, they are backstage warming up when a man in a tuxedo t-shirt walks in. Mr. Bootio, or whatever the hell they call him, Bootyworth. He's holding a platter of pancakes. The New Day appears and wanted to apologize for being jerks as of late. They admit all Miz wanted to do is find out which member of the team will enter Money in the Bank, but they play too much. They go on and ask Miz to help them reveal their member to the WWE Universe. Miz tells them to rephrase. They have a top hat with names on paper in it, and they want Miz to pick which member gets the spot. Miz goes to pick a piece of paper, and they tell him no peeking as he puts his hand into the hat, and it's full of pancake batter. Miz says this isn't funny, but it will be funny later when he teams with Rusev and Samoa Joe to defeat them. Miz wipes the batter on the tuxedo t-shirt guy and walk off as the New Day consoles him. Do you care? No. Do I care? Oh wait, no! So, what was the point of this segment? What the hell was the point of this segment is my question. Oh wait, that's right, nothing. Waste of goddamn time. Waste of time. Speaking of waste of time, Harper versus Carl Anderson here tonight on SmackDown Live. You know how important this is? The team that is vying for the tag team titles. This is how important Luke Gallows and Carl Anderson are. They didn't even get an entrance here tonight. We came back from commercial and there they were. That's how important the team qualifying for your tag team championships is. That really makes your tag team championships look good. That really makes your tag team champions look good. That really makes the challengers look good, ain't it now? Really, you spend time with a stupid backstage segment instead of giving these guys time for an entrance so you can actually make them, it's a small thing, but so you can actually make them look somewhat important going into their Money in the Bank Tag Team Championship matchup. But of course, that was not the case here tonight whatsoever. Either way, it was Harper versus Carl Anderson, and what's the case here? So, the Bludgeon Brothers are dominant as a tag team duo, but anytime they're in a singles matchup, they lose via roll-up. Is that the joke here? Harper loses here tonight to Carl Anderson via roll-up. I believe this happened a couple months back when they were feuding with the Usos as well. It was a single match. It was like Jey Uso versus Eric Rowan, and it was a roll-up, and that's the only time the Bludgeon Brothers have lost. So, when it's a singles situation, they're garbage. Is that what you mean to tell me? That makes absolutely no sense to me whatsoever. It really doesn't work out at all. But of course, that's the angle that WWE chooses to play here to, I guess, give Carl Anderson and Luke Gallows some momentum. Either way, Carl Anderson won this matchup. Nothing interesting happened here whatsoever. And we move on here to get a look back at the dance-off last week between Lana and Naomi, as if we need to be reminded of that irrelevancy. It wasn't bad, but still, who cares? Who cares? Either way, Naomi says she's going to snatch Lana bald at Money in the Bank and then snatch the contract. Jimmy addresses Rusev and says we will find out who the best husband/wife team is. Really? But Rusev isn't wrestling. Uso and Naomi welcome Aiden English and Lana to the Uso Penitentiary as we go to commercial. And don't even ask me why it was Lana and Aiden English here tonight versus Jimmy Uso and Naomi. That's just the struggle that WWE feels to include the Money in the Bank participants in the same matchups against each other. That Rusev had to be thrown in to that six-man tag later in the night instead of teaming with his wife. You mean you couldn't have held off that six-man tag until next week so things can actually make sense this week? You mean you couldn't come up with any other ideas? This creative team couldn't come up with anything else? Either way, this matchup was nothing special. This matchup, I don't know why WWE is designing the matches to hide Lana's in-ring weakness. If she's garbage in the ring, which she displayed here tonight, she clearly looks like she's still missing that pep in her step. She still looks lost in the middle of the ring. And, I mean, if you're trying to hide her weakness inside of the ring, then why the hell are you even trying to push her to begin with? Why? Because Rusev Day is over? You just want to push Lana? Are you kidding me? Is this what you're doing? So they're purposely hiding her weakness in the ring. Either way, Jimmy Uso takes a super kick from Aiden English, or Aiden English takes a super kick from Jimmy Uso, and it was over. Who cares? Not me, not you. We move on here. We go backstage to SmackDown General Manager Paige with Shinsuke Nakamura and WWE Champion AJ Styles. This was absolutely fantastic here tonight on SmackDown Live. At this point, we're at the 1 hour mark for SmackDown Live, and this is the first relevant thing that we saw on SmackDown Live here tonight. There were a few other things, but this was the first of those things, and let me tell you, I enjoyed the hell out of this contract signing. This was absolutely fantastic, and I'm going to play the audio for you, and you guys are going to hear why. Styles and Nakamura trade barbs during an explosive contract signing. Here it was, here tonight on SmackDown Live.
The challenger, Shinsuke Nakamura, and the champion, AJ Styles. And your match at Money in the Bank for the WWE Championship will be last man standing. So that means the winner will be determined when one man is incapacitated and unable to answer the 10 count that the referee gives you. And I assure you, there will be a winner. Is there any questions?
No questions, but more like a statement, if that's all right with you.
Yeah.
You see, Shin, I feel like we've been at this war with each other forever. You played your dirty little games, you've drove me to the edge, and now I think I understand why. Why you do what you do. Because you know straight up, you can't beat me. That's why you hide behind your low blows and pretend you can't speak the English language. That's why you picked a match where a stipulation is you can do anything in it to keep me down for a 10 count. But just know, every little dirty trick you have up your sleeve, it's not going to work. I'm walking out of Money in the Bank the same way I walked in. The WWE champion.
And the brilliance here was in the facial expressions of Shinsuke Nakamura. AJ signs the contract. Shinsuke Nakamura yawned. So he looks at the pen.
It's out of the ink.
And he throws it to the side.
I create value pen.
So he steers a hole through this one.
This pen is broken. Is that the game you're gonna play? Sign it! Get up! Get up like a man, stand up!
So AJ gets heated.
You're just gonna sit there?
He's standing up.
Stand up! Be a man! I'm tired of these games. You know what? No. Listen, I'm fine. I mean...
And AJ slaps Nakamura.
What are you doing, AJ?
I got games. Let's play.
So AJ gets ushered out. Nakamura sells the slap a little bit. But at the end, he always has a smile on his face. Pulls out another pen right out of his coat pocket, and he signs the contract. Brilliant here. This is the line.
Last man standing.
That was brilliant right there, because if you realize what they did there, they set it up so Nakamura got in the head of AJ Styles, so he had to be removed from the contract signing because they were trying to keep things civil. So Nakamura knew that AJ Styles, all he had to do was play with the emotions. All he needed to do was get in the head of AJ Styles, and that's exactly what he did, because at the end, in the contract signing, where was AJ Styles? Where was AJ Styles? Nowhere to be found. In that contract signing, it may not be in the middle of the ring, but at least there, Shinsuke Nakamura was the last man standing. And Shinsuke Nakamura, he reminded me of the Joker, in a sense. The Joker in whatchamacallit, in The Dark Knight. Absolutely fantastic. That's exactly what I was reminded of here. Because of course, when Batman is in the jail cell with Joker, right? And he's interrogating him, and he's asking, "Where is she?" He's beating the shit out of the Joker, and how the Joker just like rubs it off, and he just says, "You can hit me all you want. It ain't gonna hurt. It ain't gonna hurt." And that's exactly what I seen from Shinsuke Nakamura when AJ Styles smacked the crap out of him across the table. So that was a pretty awesome segment right there. I enjoyed the hell out of what I saw right there. That was fantastic. But besides that on SmackDown Live, there wasn't much else that you can really classify as quote-unquote fantastic. But that definitely furthered the feud, and that definitely made me an infinity ton more invested in what we're seeing on SmackDown Live in that WWE Championship feud. It was minimal. It was like 4 minutes, but it got the point across, and it was, and this is the key word here, creative. Something that WWE seems to be showing very little of as of late. There's no doubt about that. Either way, we move on here to the next segment on SmackDown Live here tonight, and that had to do with Becky Lynch and Charlotte Flair. This was also very interesting here tonight, because you don't just put Becky Lynch and Charlotte Flair on the television screen. Two of the four horsewomen, very, very good wrestlers in their own right, in the middle of the ring, and look away. This is a matchup you watch with a close eye, and they put on a pretty decent matchup here tonight on SmackDown Live. They can definitely do better, and this is a match that I'd like to see fleshed out with a build on a pay-per-view. Unfortunately, it doesn't seem like WWE is going to be going down that exact path anytime soon, but it's definitely something interesting and definitely something to think about right there. And tonight threw that possibility in the air. Becky Lynch versus Charlotte. I believe we haven't seen this matchup in the year that Charlotte has been on SmackDown Live at this point. Yeah, she hasn't really interacted with Becky Lynch in a singles matchup on SmackDown Live, and this is the first time we're seeing that here tonight, and it definitely provided for one of the better moments on SmackDown Live here tonight. Becky Lynch actually won the matchup, and this is exactly what I predicted last week on SmackDown Live. You have Becky win this matchup, and this can be a catalyst for her to challenge whoever is SmackDown Women's Champion coming out of the Money in the Bank pay-per-view. That's a definite positive of this, and I hope that WWE uses that to their advantage, and they don't just have this be something that, well, Becky Lynch gets a win over Charlotte, but in the long run, it means zero. It means nothing. It means zilch. And I don't want that to be the case, but it definitely seems like that might be something on WWE's radar or mind of doing. That definitely seems like something that they would do. But that is besides the point here tonight. One thing that I'd like to point out here, Charlotte, actually two things. Charlotte, overutilization of the moonsault. What the hell is this? Every single match, moonsault, moonsault, moonsault. I saw a picture of a dark match that Charlotte did on SmackDown last week, and she was doing a moonsault. Overutilization. That move is not something that you just randomly have as part of your arsenal. You pull it out at the pay-per-views. You pull it out during championship matches. You don't pull it out every single week, every single match on SmackDown Live. It just completely takes away from that move. And you know what? Charlotte does not do the prettiest moonsault whatsoever. So that really doesn't make sense to begin with in and of itself. The fact that she's using it so much. But another thing is Charlotte taking L's, bro. She's taking a lot of L's. She's taking L's to Carmella clean at the Battleground pay-per-view, which was a terrible result. She's taking it out to Becky Lynch now. She's been taking losses in tag team matches that don't matter. Yeah, I mean, she beat Asuka's streak, and now you mean to tell me she's just gonna rub off all her momentum onto everybody else, and that's it? That's it for Asuka's streak? Realistically, Charlotte conquering Asuka's streak, she carries the essence of the streak within her. And the Money in the Bank cash-in by Carmella, fine. I get it, it's a Money in the Bank cash-in. Charlotte was destroyed by the Iconics, and then Carmella took advantage. But the fact that she lost at Battleground, you mean to tell me the essence of the streak has been passed on to Carmella? Are you kidding me? It really doesn't make sense to me that Charlotte is losing this much coming out of WrestleMania. If anything, this should mean a momentum boost for Charlotte, and WWE has done the absolute opposite of that, and I find that disrespectful to the streak, and it really waters down whatever realistically special feeling that the streak had to it, and that's something that I really do not like. But Becky Lynch, she needed this win here tonight, and hopefully, instead of just making this a one-off thing that really doesn't mean anything in the long run, hopefully WWE uses this to make it a case for Becky Lynch to challenge for the SmackDown Women's Championship in the future. Either way, we move on here. Dasha Fuentes was backstage with Samoa Joe, and Joe cut another masterful promo here tonight. I mean, when doesn't he? Joe immediately cuts her off and asks what she sees when she looks at him. A vicious man. Maybe a man who has the conscience of a rabid dog, or a moral compass so backwards that he will stop at nothing to get what he wants. Joe says the New Day will find out all those things are true tonight. Joe goes on and says people will see him as a man who made a promise and kept it. He promised he would put Daniel Bryan to sleep. He also climbed the ladder and got the briefcase last week, which terrified the locker room because they saw the truth. Joe goes on and says whoever will call himself WWE Champion will be labeling himself a marked man. Joe says with him, what you see is what you get. And everyone will get it very soon. From there, we go on to commercial. The only thing I did not like about this promo is that Joe was talking to Dasha Fuentes. And WWE, they don't even, and this isn't Joe's fault whatsoever, but if he's addressing Dasha, Dasha wasn't even on camera. All you see is the microphone and Samoa Joe's face. Are you kidding me? Yeah, I mean, Dasha Fuentes, it kind of would have taken out of it if Joe was speaking to her and we saw her, because you know she wouldn't have been reacting. She just would have had that plain expression that she always has. So either way, you look at it, what was the win-win situation here? WWE needs to do something about these robot-esque interviewers. It really takes away from the promo of somebody like Samoa Joe, and it really kind of distracted me here tonight, just thinking, well, you know, Dasha, she's not on camera. How the hell is she supposed to be reacting to what Joe is saying to her? And that really took away from the promo. Because, like, why are you talking to Dasha? Why are you addressing Dasha if we're not even going to be able to see how Dasha is going to be able to respond to the supposed rhetorical question that Joe is asking her? But that is besides the point. We move on here to Renee Young interviewing Big Cass here tonight. I think if this promo is on WWE's YouTube channel, I'll play it for you. Nothing really that struck my mind here tonight about what Big Cass had to say. I know this promo is not on WWE's YouTube channel, and either way, it's not really something I want to waste the time on this SmackDown Live review. This promo felt in the same vein as everything else that we've heard from Big Cass as of late. Same boring analogies to compare Daniel Bryan as being a small guy, and when a good big guy is in there against a good small guy, the good big guy is going to win, and that was proven last week when Daniel Bryan lost to Samoa Joe, blah, blah, blah. I mean, it just all comes across as very rubbish. That's all. I mean, nothing against Big Cass. He cuts a good promo, but I really cannot invest myself in whatever he is saying because you lost to Daniel Bryan already. The good small guy beat the bad big guy here tonight, or before at Battleground. And Daniel Bryan's beating the shit out of you on multiple occasions. I cannot take Big Cass as a credible opponent. I can't. Either way, here's the promo, kind of word for word. Renee asks about Cass facing Daniel Bryan at Money in the Bank, and he starts bragging about his height, knocking Bryan for his size. Cass shows us what happened last week after Samoa Joe put Bryan to sleep. Cass says he almost feels bad for Bryan, but Bryan brought it on himself by asking to come back to WWE and asking to get back in the ring. Cass says little did Bryan know that he would have a 7-foot shadow following him everywhere he went. Cass says Bryan has never been in the ring with someone as big as him, as educated as him, with someone that's a star like him, with someone that holds a grudge like he does. Cass says that's why he will do everything he can to dismantle Bryan at Money in the Bank, to beat him down and embarrass him. Cass says he will take Bryan's scrawny little arms, rip them off his body, and beat him with them. Cass is going to snap Bryan's little legs so he can't walk and put the heel hook on him again. Cass goes on and says Bryan needs to go back to doing what he does best, playing a little garden gnome on Total Bellas. Cass says a battered Bryan will look in the mirror after Money in the Bank and come to the slow realization that a pathetic little man like him will never survive in this big man's world. So that is the situation right there. Decent promo from Big Cass, but I mean, really has yet to topple and surpass the promo that he cut earlier this year when, of course, he made his return. That was a very good promo, and it showed promise. All this promo showed was stagnation, and it really revealed the lack of care that I have for this feud, because I cannot find myself looking at the television screen to actually see the facial expressions on Big Cass. I really just couldn't get invested like that in what he was saying, and believe me, I was kind of trying. So, I mean, I guess that just reveals the lack of care that we're seeing there. Dasha Fuentes is backstage with Sin Cara. This was actually interesting here tonight. I like the way they're building this little mini feud for Andrade Cien Almas with Sin Cara, asking him if he was wrong to assume that he was still friends with Andrade Cien Almas after last week's segment with Almas and Zelina Vega. Cara says they have been friends since they were teenagers and he considered Almas to be like a brother, but something happened. And Zelina Vega comes in and interrupts. She asks if Cara is referring to her. She's not just something. She's the best thing that's happened to Andrade Cien Almas. Vega says Almas accomplished nothing when he locked up Cara. Almas told her Cara made him hide behind the mask and made him weak. And I like the way they're bringing up the history there. Vega taught him he doesn't have to hide from anyone or be afraid, especially Cara. Cara doesn't believe her, but she reveals that Almas went to Paige and got a match against Cara for next week. And then all of a sudden, here comes Andrade Cien Almas and beats the shit out of Sin Cara, destroying him and leaving him on the floor in a heap. So there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. Andrade Cien Almas versus Sin Cara. This is really going to be the first matchup of Andrade Cien Almas' main roster career, where if you have not seen this guy yet, if you're a main roster exclusive, which if you are, I don't even know how the hell you watch this product, but if you're a main roster exclusive, this is really going to be the first matchup where you're really going to be able to get that essence of the fantasticness that Andrade Cien Almas is all about in the middle of that ring. And I cannot wait to see what we see next week. That's definitely going to make SmackDown Live next week much more exciting than whatever the hell we saw this week. Andrade Cien Almas in what I'm going to be calling his first real singles matchup, because those squash matches with the jobbers, they're nothing to go crazy over. But this, I like the feeling that we're getting from this feud with Sin Cara. It makes sense because of the Latin ties that they had to each other, and I feel like these guys can put on a very good matchup. Actually, from what I've heard on the house show circuits, they've actually had this matchup a couple times just to test out what it would be like, and I heard that Sin Cara did his fair share of great stuff as well, showed that athleticism, put in a good match against Andrade, and I can't wait to see what the TV version of that looks like next week on SmackDown Live. So that is the situation right there. From now, we move on to the main event, and that was the New Day versus The Miz, Rusev, and Samoa Joe. And what can I tell you about a six-man tag main event? It was the same crap that we've always seen, as I've already explained earlier in the review. WWE is just clamoring to get everybody who is in these Money in the Bank ladder matches in a program with each other. I mean, next week they announced a summit being held by Paige, where all four women in the Money in the Bank ladder match for the SmackDown side, of course, are going to be in the ring together. What the fuck is a summit? A Money in the Bank summit is what they're calling it. What the hell is that? I have no goddamn idea. But I mean, exactly what happened here tonight. Clearly, all members of the New Day, they haven't announced what member of the New Day is going to be in the Money in the Bank ladder match. So it's kind of like all of them are going to be in the Money in the Bank ladder match right now. So they're all quote-unquote involved. Clearly, Rusev, Samoa Joe, and Miz have qualified. And that is the case here tonight. They were all in the same matchup here tonight. And what can I tell you? It was a six-man tag. It was a six-man tag. Interesting ending. I actually liked the way things broke down. It was the New Day. They were about to put the Miz down with the big ending, or the midnight hour like they call it. And here came Samoa Joe, pulls Xavier off the apron, and gets the Coquina clutch. And then Kofi Kingston, he's about to do a jump down to stop the Coquina clutch. And Rusev catches Kofi in midair with the Machka kick. Beautiful, beautiful looking thing there. Then they hold down Big E, do Rusev and Samoa Joe. And The Miz, he gets the bright idea of throwing pancakes in Big E's face. So there's pancakes on a platter outside ringside for some goddamn reason. They always bring their damn pancakes. And The Miz wanted to throw them in the face of Big E, but Big E found himself getting out of it, and the pancakes went straight into the face of Samoa Joe and, of course, the Rusev. So Rusev hits The Miz with a big kick. I think Samoa Joe hit the Uranagi, whatever move it was, and Miz was laid out, and they both left, did Rusev and Samoa Joe, which allowed the New Day to, of course, come in, capitalize, and take out The Miz to end SmackDown Live. This was the prime example. The main event really showed you how important everything that you saw on SmackDown Live was here tonight. And what I mean by that is that nothing that you saw here tonight was important. Realistically, not much besides the WWE Championship picture realistically progressed going into Money in the Bank. And what you've seen between Andrade Cien Almas, which clearly I'm enjoying, Andrade Cien Almas so far clearly is not going into Money in the Bank, at least as far as we know it yet. Where the hell is Jeff Hardy, your United States Champion on SmackDown Live? That's an interesting question right there. Where's Sanity? Sanity, they debuted on the house show circuit over this past week. Where the hell are they? A lot of names missing on SmackDown Live each and every single week. Daniel Bryan was missing here tonight. But that kind of makes sense. Daniel Bryan's been on SmackDown Lives multiple times in a row. But there are a couple names missing that we haven't seen for a couple weeks. Missing United States Championship match. What the hell happened to it? Where the hell is Jeff Hardy? That's a nice United States Champion you got right there, being unutilized on SmackDown Live each and every single week. Why can't you make time for your U.S. Champion? I don't understand that one. But that is besides the point. Because for now, ladies and gentlemen, that is going to be all right here on the Ringside Wrestling YouTube channel. As far as your SmackDown Live review, not much, but I mean, realistically, you can't give it all every single week, I guess. Hopefully, SmackDown Live gets back to a better show next week. But as far as tonight goes, I give this show a thumbs down. But besides that, for now, ladies and gentlemen, I just want to tell you guys to make sure to go check out all of the content. Monday Night Raw reviews, SmackDown Live reviews, pay-per-view reviews, pay-per-view preview and predictions, special content each and every single week right here on the Ringside Wrestling YouTube channel. Can't forget about Behind the Mic each and every single week. Make sure to go check out all the other content. Make sure to like, make sure to comment, make sure to subscribe, because for now, ladies and gentlemen, this has been Joel Perez of Ringside Wrestling Entertainment, and for now, I am out of here. Thank you very, very much for watching this video. I will see you all next time right here on Ringside Wrestling.